and that it would form fit to the flange, and you'd have a nice seal where you wouldn't have air coming in through your flanges here. So here's a couple other features on it. I've got your inspection port where you have a little mica window. As you can see there, you can see through it. They made that so you could open it up and start the fire without having a lot of smoke coming out, because if you have this main door open and you're trying to start a fire, you get a lot of smoke out. So this is the best way I figured, was using this little access port and inspection port to, take and, start your fire or look at your fire, how it's doing. As just a simple hinge, a washer that I made up with a pair of screws that hold it in place, and it's just a plain mica window, the type you use like in a floor furnace for a gas heater. So it's pretty nice and basic. I keep the window from getting sooted up by having the air come in here and clean this area. Keeps the smoke from building up on it. You can see a whole bunch of holes drilled in that. This was an afterthought arrangement because I didn't do it at the beginning and had to do it after I found that I was getting a smoked up window. So the air goes in here, goes around through the double wall door and exits through these holes in this area, and that is what provides the primary air, and it helps wash the window area to keep the smoke away from it and keep it clean. I originally had holes in this area where the air had come in here and around and up into this area. So I eliminated that by just welding in the holes and making holes by the door area. I have another small stoking door that I use for putting in 2x material. On that, again, you have a door that'll open up for you, and it'll also free swing, so it's only centrally mounted and allows it to center itself on the opening flange. Same style of lever where it links. You bring the door shut, single point hinge there. You have a notch, and you come over with this and you put that in there, and it has a little bit of a spring load to where you go over center. This is past center. Now it locks in. That door is not going to flop open. So nice, easy over center, like a vice grip handle. So that's your doorway there. Okay, and the same function here. A little bit of a milder cam action on this one, but as you can see, it puts a preload on the handle, which then put a little grease on it and it helps it out to move, but that locks it in place, and the door is sealed against the edge and keeps the air from leaking in. This one here, the primary air, as you can see, it's spring loaded. It has a thermostat right here that is taken out of an old Ford carburetor, and what you have is a lever arrangement. You can turn the temperature control on it, but I usually just leave it up in this position, and when the thing warms up, it just shuts off your primary air, and you can adjust your idle temperature with a little adjustment screw right here, and you can lock it in place, so you can set up your idle speed of the furnace. So that automatically closes when this area gets hot and throttles it down. For construction of this door, when I cut the top plate, I arrived at a rectangular piece of metal that I had left over, and so what I did is I had some 1-inch stock here, 1/4 by 1-inch stock, and welded that to that plate to build up this area. Then I took and put strap stock around it to bring it further back in. See, you can see the 1/4-inch plate right here, and this is the 1-inch stock that has been laid over it, the framework, and welded to it. Then with the flat stock again, welded onto it from the inside, and your plate welded across here with your passageways cut into it. So that's pretty basic in that area, in that regards. So that's a double walled, so any heat that comes into this preheats the air that's coming in as your primary air, so it helps it out. Okay, and if I can, there, pull the pin that holds the center part of the door, and you can see the fork that the door swings on. And like I say, I like it to have a center spot. Helicopters. LAPD. Okay, as I was saying before I was interrupted by the helicopter, I like to have a single point mount for the door so you can have it self-center. With this arrangement coming in here on a single point mount, it comes in, I have just a pin coming through here, and if I line up, there it sets in there, and now that allows you to open and close the door as a unison, and nice simple function. So this is pretty much repeated there. I didn't do it on this real small door, but the idea is that you get a nice seal around the area, whereas if you have it rigid mounted like this, now if there's any movement, it's very hard to get this to seal back up. So you're better off with this style door, instead of this where you've got a rigid mount. Okay, so I'll reposition this so we can see other positions on it. As you can see, there's a lot of holes going around. These are also down inside this area going along the face. So every inch there's a number 10 screw. Let's see. There you can kind of see the holes, going through there and securing the face to the main box. Okay, laid it down in its normal configuration position. This is showing you the exit area of the flame tube. As you can see, you got a nice brown, or tan area here. We were getting less of a burn area here because we had the bypass going here, so the flame was mainly on one side. Earlier in this area is where I had the third tube coming up and getting preheat air, so that's going back in. You can see the hardware here, which holds this brick on, and the same way over here. That one cracked a little, but it was still being held in place.